And here we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another Monday night live chat here with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight, I've got a team of people who are going to be discussing things, who are passionate about the industry, that want to see change, that want the next election to go. Oh, no, that's going in the wrong direction here. Gentlemen, let's introduce ourselves. We're going to kind of work around and such. MJ, you start. You're in the upper left-hand corner. Go.
Hi, my name is Michael Joseph. I'm a DJ. I've been DJing a long time. I also have two shows on this network here that you can listen to and watch and hear. You can, as soon as I have to mute you over here on the other one, John. Sorry, you were coming in twice. The Rewind Report on Disc Jockey News and My DJ Obsession. And then this lovely thing we do each week here where it's kind of like a college dorm room hangout. And we just kind of bring up topics and talk about them. And we're joined in and out all night by all kinds of people. So
we just crashed. Wirecast just crashed on us.
I crashed the internet. Woo!
There we go. No, I guess we did not. We you did not. It was. Okay. So this earlier today, a friend of mine posted on there that if you hit a certain key code, you can pop a window and you can shut it. You can shut it down completely. And I just did that just to prove I could do it, and I didn't intend to. So my bad. For those of you who thought it was crashed, it was just me being. Sorry, MJ. I was trying to steal your thunder.
I'm used to it.
Okay.
It's okay, John.
Chili, you're right below MJ, so introduce yourself, please. Turn your microphone on.
You're muted. Just the way we like him, muted.
There we go. How about this one?
There we go. Now we can hear you.
All right. I am DJ Michael Chilson, owner of Chili Sound Entertainment out of Pittsburgh, PA. Do a lot of teen dances, weddings, birthday parties. Been in the business about 10 years or so. And actively pursuing the market in Pittsburgh about the last 4 heavily. So
cool. Thank you for being with us, Mitch.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aldo Ryan.
No, it's not.
Aldo, your diet is not working like it was.
Yeah, I've got a lighter skin tone here too. I'm reverse tanning.
Nice tie, Mitch. Nice tie.
I'm Mitch Taylor, Gittimer Certified Advisor. I also write for Disc Jockey News, have for many, many years now, and also host a podcast with my Creating Connections podcast partner, Vicky Musney, where we talk about how you can create better connections in sales and marketing and with your entertainment company. That's me.
That is you. Mr. Breck. Okay, so I get to tell the story. Before Jeremy starts. So
it's Dave Tournier. Oh.
It's Dave Tournier. No. So Jeremy and his wife and Lori and I were all at LDI, and Jeremy's like, okay, we're getting ready, and the wife will be ready soon. Okay, I just kind of blew the first one off, and he makes another saying about he's waiting for his wife. It's like this woman has a name. So then that became then when we got back to the room and such, I had to put a post up for everyone that saying that Lori and I had a wonderful dinner with Sarah Breck and her husband.
Yeah, it was a lot like Fight Club. She has a name. So I am Jeremy Breck, DJ Jer out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and writer for the Disc Jockey News for 3 years now, 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Man, I'm running out of things to talk about. I have the DJ Jer Shop Time. You might have seen a couple of those videos. If you haven't, make sure you go check them out. All free videos, basically giving content on everything from design to using the right cords for your lighting, all those type of things. So that's me in a nutshell.
Very cool. Thanks for being with us tonight. Let's see, Mike.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Schnauder. I'm mostly a wedding DJ. Pretty much unknown by most of you guys, but I hang out with all the nationals and love them. They try to learn as much as I can, and I'm down in South Louisiana, Lafayette to be precise, and happy to be here.
Very cool, guys. You may be trying to go to the Brady Bunch shot. Dan, you're up by the way next. You might be trying to do that, but I might have it because of me controlling it to have one person big on the screen. So, Dan, introduce yourself, please, and thanks for coming.
Thanks. Sorry I was late. I had to finish up watching Big Bang Theory. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Carpenter, DJ in Central Pennsylvania, and I'm the part-time guy. I've been writing for Disc Jockey News. I jump in and throw that plug in for the past 2 years. Hard to believe it's been that while. But I feel like Jeremy, though. I feel like I'm running out of things to write about. So if you have anything that you would love to add in, I'd love to hear from it. Just to give us some things to talk about, make it easier.
Yeah, that's always a great. Oh, I got to switch back to this screen. For those of you out there watching it, and that's something feedback and ideas and such. If there's something that you have questions on, you can always put those. If nothing else, you put them on almost any video because that information comes to me, and then I generally send it out to everyone. So if there's something even unrelated to tonight's topic, feel free to put it down in the comments. We'll take care of it. We'll get it to the right person, get some answers, and it might be an upcoming story, it might be an upcoming video, or it might be just something that we send you pie.
I think we should do an Ask Us Anything episode.
Oh, goodness.
where we field nothing but questions that were sent in ahead of time.
That could be like
as long as it's ahead of time. That could get scary otherwise.
Well, we're not going to tell you what they are. We're just, it comes to John and I, and then we feed them to you.
Oh, that's how it's going to be.
I'm liking this show. That'd be awesome, man. But yeah, and Ask Me Anything could be a great, especially around that holiday season, as we get past that. Generally between Christmas and New Year's, yes, that's a busy time, but yet there's always dead time for DJ. So that could be crazy. Could be crazy good. For those of you watching, if you are watching on a mobile device, well, first off, thank you for watching, but you can go to the YouTube and follow that on the thing and be able to have a chat over on the right if you're on your desktop. If you're on your mobile device, it's on the bottom. You should be able to click on a chat and see the chat going. Ian, hey, thanks for coming back. I see he was here yesterday. He wanted to warm the room up for us, and we appreciate it. And he is back with us tonight, so yay! Great. So hang on, I've got a graphic because MJ said we need to have a graphic of what we're talking about tonight. So our first topic is the future of industry shows. Yes, that's right. Now it's all showing up right on the bottom, guys. I mean, it's just like...
I just want to say that wasn't my idea. I have to give that out to my friend DJ Pat. Came up with that idea for the infographic. So if you're watching, Pat, thanks.
Yep, thanks, Pat. That was a great idea. It's just trying to put it in a spot where we're not going to have it over top of somebody's forehead. Because initially when I put it up there, it's like, oh, that's right over Mitch's, who Mitch was on the bottom at the time. So guys, this past weekend actually was down at LDI. And LDI is, for those who aren't familiar with it, is the Live Design and Institute or whatever it is. But it's basically a lighting show. It used to be the lighting design. It's all about lighting, mainly geared for professionals, but it's also kind of got a feel for other industries. Some of it's some house of worship things instead of like road touring lighting is what I meant by that. And there's a DJ component that there's some DJ lights that show up at the show. This year at the show, they were having Pro DJ at LDI, which was to have an educational track just for mobile DJs or DJs in general at the show. That was their plan. And it was, on paper, it looked really good. Unfortunately, in reality, it didn't work very well. And I haven't talked to all the speakers, but I talked to 4 or 5 sessions worth of speakers so far, and it seems that the most well-attended seminar with the DJ side of it was Arnaldo's. He was doing a lighting one, and I think he had like 12 or 13 people in his seminar. Some of the other seminars had 3 and 4 and 5 people that attended. That was just, I want to get that out there because people are talking about it. That's really not what we're going to discuss tonight, the attendance of that part of it. What I wanted to focus more on tonight, guys, is the exhibit hall, because these shows only live and breathe because of vendor support in the exhibit hall. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, what you guys have seen and where your feeling is on how the vendor support is how it is right now for these shows. And if you think that the vendor support is going to be able to stay there the way things are going right now. So who wants to jump in first?
I'll grab this one.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna pop you to the full screen. So.
Okay. So I was at LDI, and I completely agree that the sessions were maybe not as attended as people were hoping. I was a presenter, and mine was a pretty sparse crowd. And I think it really came down to, you have this competition with the vendors or with the trade show. I know mine started right when the trade show doors were opening, and for me to even get 12 people into the room was going to be a tough situation. The trade show itself, I really don't see the trade shows dying off. I see them maybe getting smaller, or here's how I see it. When you watch a when you watch a concert on TV, you can experience it. But when you're actually at that concert, that's when you truly experience the concert. And I think that's kind of what these trade shows are when it comes to the lights or it comes to the sound, because in a video on YouTube, you really can't experience the full potential of what a sound system sounds like. You can't understand the output of a light when it's shined through a 1080. It doesn't matter how clear that video is. You can't experience it unless you're actually there. So again, I think it all comes down to people still need to be able to see things, touch things hands-on, and really experience things live. So I don't see the trade show dying out. I do see it maybe becoming a little more conservative when it comes to the vendors. At some of the other conventions that I've been to besides LDI, I think just diversity is really important when it comes to us as consumers. So it's not just 18 photo booths and 3 lighting companies and 2 sound companies. I think having that diverse selection of options is really what keeps people interested in going through the trade show and really experiencing the trade show. So to me, if shows really want to keep the attendance, then they're going to really have to focus on those trade shows.
Yeah, I think there's a level of that. I struggle, Jeremy, and since you were there, this is a question I think you and I probably talked a little bit about this. I want to switch back to our full screen here so everyone can see. What did you think about the number of Chinese companies? And this is nothing to be racist or anything with that. It's just a reality of our business. You have a light that's being made by one company that's a higher end company, higher named company, we'll call it. They're selling it at this price point. Then there's another company that's more of a kind of a mid-level company, and they're selling a very similar light at this price point. Then both of those lights can be found in one of many of those Chinese booths there at a fraction of both of those, much cheaper. Over the last few years, I've been seeing more of that at not only this trade show, but I saw it last week in GIE. In GIE, what was happening is that Polaris makes a Ranger. It's a side-by-side little, like a golf cart, basically, that for the outdoor farmers, what have you. There were more companies from China that were there repping those types of vehicles and selling them at a fraction of what Polaris or Articat or Can-Am or any of the companies were selling them there, because they're basically bringing these inexpensive things in. Jeremy, so getting back to it, how do you think that is going to affect that exhibit hall?
I think the people who put that show on, they really need to decide what's more important. Having the people who are having, or the people who are putting together 8 booths, like a 40 by 40 booth, who is spending the money and will be there, who knows that they're a solid company. And yes, their lights might be double the price, but people, and I'm going to name drop if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Don't come to the show. They don't come to the show to see these Chinese companies. They come to see Clay Packy.
Yep.
They come to see Elation. They come to see Chauvet Professional. They don't come to look for the knockoff brands. These companies are the people who come to these shows. Again, I mean, they have pockets and they're not afraid to spend money on quality. And you walking through those booths, you could tell what fixture was a $16,000 fixture and what was a knockoff for half the price.
Very much so.
The output, the clarity, the movement, everything. I just like I sell myself, I give my clients a better experience, a better final result. And that's exactly what these lighting companies are doing too. So the show owner, the show producer really needs to decide. They have to pick and choose. Do I want to bring in some of these Chinese who might take away the opportunity from these big companies who have been with us for 10, 20, 30 years in this show? And do we want to take that risk? And I think that's a tough question, John.
Yeah, it's a really tough one, and it's I'm not just seeing it in the DJ world. This year at the National Hardware Show back in May, the international section has grown where it's well over a third of the show floor, which last year was probably closer to a quarter. You're seeing more and more of these companies who are coming in there, and at LDI, there were crews coming in from some of these Chinese companies that were there just to harvest information about other lighting technologies that were in the room. it was an incredible. They had a systematic approach. They gathered their team and they gave them their last pep talk just before going in. And you got your cameras and you got your notes and you're going to do this and you're going to take video and you're going to do this. And it's all a very orchestrated effort to get into that market. And it's happening at different trade shows. Fishing show. I mean, even in fishing, which you would think would be not, that's more of a U.S. thing. No, there were companies in there that were selling lures and different things that were imported lures, but they were doing direct import.
I have a question for those of you who were there. We're talking about the knockoffs and then the high end. How many did you see that were in the middle where you could tell that a company made this and then distributed the exact product to 2 or 3 brands?
That happened in at least two instances. There's 2 companies in that room that had lights that were almost identical in many, many ways. In those 2 companies, there was also a third Chinese based company that was, I looked at one of the lights that I was familiar with in their booth, and it looked almost identical, just with no labels on it. So
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm not one of those people, but I know there are people out there. People buy them.
Yep.
You know, think about the Oscars and the dresses that the women wear, and within 1 week, the designers are taking those dresses and they're doing the knockoffs. And I get approached on Facebook, people trying to friend me on Facebook that are knockoff light designers, and they're selling the exact same type of lights that Chauvet and all these other companies, and they're trying to get me. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, we could make your, company better. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I see it in the DJ chat rooms where, people are saying, where can I find cheap lights? And where can I find this? And where can I find cheap that? And it's a shame, it is. And they're the first ones to also complain about that their clients are asking for cheap packages.
Isn't it?
And it's funny. It's a catch-22 when they're the first ones saying, like, where can I get this for cheap? But now they have they have clients that are coming to them saying, well, I want to pay this kind of money. They're like, how could somebody come to me and ask for this kind of, package when I want to, sell them that? But it's the reality that there's companies out there and people are willing to go for cheap to get the knockoff lights until one of them lights on fire at a party or explodes, or God forbid something like that happens, for them to realize it's not the real deal.
Yep.
A while back, I was doing some research on that, and it was all about the products coming from AliExpress and Alibaba. And the U.S. obviously has standards that are for electronics that have to be inspected. And I ended up talking to an insurance company that insures sound equipment for people like DJs and etc., and brought up the question to her, if one of these lights that were not approved by the U.S., does not have that approval sticker, catches on fire, sets something on fire, would your insurance cover that DJ's damage? And she's like, oh my goodness. She goes, we never thought of that. And I'm like, that's major money, because look how many DJs are using them. And, think about that they go, it wasn't a manufacturer defect. The light wasn't even approved for the U.S. You as the DJ are now responsible for 100% of the cost of the repairs.
And actually, I want to tag on that a little bit. I've been able to go to Chauvet headquarters. I've been able to see exactly how they create what they do, the tests they have to that are all involved with that. There's a lot of man hours that actually go into just making sure that a light doesn't fade out for, after a long period of time. They have to send it to Canada to get it fire inspected. And I mean, that's quite a process. So when people are complaining that, oh my gosh, well, I can get that same exact light from China for the same, the same exact everything for a third of the price. Well, you can, but again, like you said, if that light catches on fire, who's going to back you up?
Yeah. And I think that's really going to be a big thing, Ned.
It's not the same exact light. And that's the problem. Yeah, the guts may be the same exact light, but like Jeremy said, it's not having the quality control.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with you and your service. Are you having quality control in your service? Are you putting in the time, the effort, and the energy to train your staff and work on always improving your skills in the 6 facets that you have in your business? And if you are, then that's quality control, and your client should pay more for that. But if you're not, then yeah, you're doing the same exact thing.
You're a Chinese company.
Yeah.
Right.
very much so.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a kit car. You know, like Mitch said, it might look like the same light, or it might act as the same light, but it's not the same light. And if you buy a Ferrari kit car and put a Pinto engine in it, you don't have the same car.
Close so. Yeah, the my concern with this, and we'll have to wrap things up because we'll head we got about another 10 minutes and we have to change topics, is that the day that AliExpress and Alibaba, as MJ mentioned earlier, the day that they figure out how they can give a pseudo warranty to lights and to be able to sell lights to DJs. They can sell lights to DJs right now, and they can sell them for anywhere from 2/3 the cost to half the cost of some of the name brands here in the States. As soon as they figure out how to have a replacement policy within days instead of 2 weeks so that DJs can buy it, and then if it dies on Saturday, they can get another one. If they get that, it's going to be really tough for American companies, no matter how good their service is and how good their quality is, because we know that DJs, unfortunately, are incredibly cheap, and we're going to go 90% of the time. Most DJs, especially when they're getting started or what have you, are going to go for the cheap. We've all done it, and we like to say we didn't, but we did, and now we try not to do it, but still, sometimes we go for the cheaper stuff. I think it could be a tough road for manufacturers at that point.
Hey, John?
Yeah.
Isn't LDI appealing to DJs a fairly new phenomenon?
Not so much. I mean, yes, is having the DJ training. That was the first thing this year, first time for that. But there are DJs who've been going to this for a number of years. Now, there's many East Coast bar mitzvah DJs where this is where they go to learn about the new things that they can bring to their shows. Guys like Bobby Morgenstein and at that level of bar mitzvah guys, they're doing full room decor and lighting, and they go there, and I've seen Bobby at LDI. I'm pretty sure. I think he was there last year. Wasn't there this year, as far as I know. But Bobby, will go there, and he's bringing in a checkbook, and he's ready to do business, and that's wonderful. It's a great thing for him.
Yeah, I attended a lot of trade shows, but I've never attended LDI.
Yeah, it's really one of those, to me, I would consider that crossover trade show. It's not like you could be a DJ, but you're probably going to be more of the bigger DJ, the higher end DJ. The DJ circuit that they did this year for education, yes, that's new. That's a whole new feel. They tried to do it as an EDM last year, which I think they struggled with that part as well. But again, it's one of those crossover things, because if you're a DJ and you're willing to spend $3,000 on a moving head, then yeah, it's probably a good show for you.
Yeah. And
perhaps it'll continue to expand and do well.
Yeah.
So our topic, was it going to be LDI, or are we talking about the future of trade shows?
Really, the future of trade shows and how the concept of these manufacturers, that evolution of the way DJs buy or how DJs are buying, how that's going to influence the future of shows. Because a Las Vegas DJ show, a Mobile Beat DJ Expo, none of these shows will survive without manufacturer money, because the exhibit hall carries them.
I can tell you that Jeremy and I got to spend a little time together at Wedding MBA this year, and that is heavily financed by Wedding Wire and The Knot as their primary two big guns.
Yeah.
And that show, I went to it for the first time in 2009, and this last one in 2015, this year, and it has not shrunk at all. If anything, it's gotten larger, in my view. What do you think, Jeremy?
To me, it's gotten bigger. And again, you're talking really big names. I mean, some really deep pockets there.
Yeah.
I was actually there presenting, and also on behalf of Chauvet DJ. And Chauvet DJ had a booth right next to this China company, or this knockoff company, and they had, believe it or not, they had a fuel light, exactly like it looked dead on like a fuel light. And there was a couple other people that came by. They looked at it as well, and they were just shocked. They're like, it's exactly the same frequency, ABC. It's the same everything. And they were like, I don't know, they were just over $100, where fuel is, close to $300. So was their booth as big? No, they had about a 5-foot by 8-foot deep booth. But again, I mean, you have in all aspects, all trade shows. You have China, like John said, you've got China trying to make their foot in the door there.
Yeah, and that's really where the future, where I wanted to go to with the future of the trade shows is for those DJs out there who are looking to buy gear and such. And this kind of feeds into our next one. You guys have already talked about some of the legalities of it, but it's going to, these purchases we make, and it's a harmless purchase that I'm going to be buying some gear from China direct and such, what have you. There are repercussions for that, and these little single purchases may not mean much. But over time, as this continues and the companies get better at delivering to these states, and the competition internationally becomes greater, we're going to see that have an effect on trade shows, and it may mean the end of trade shows just because there are only a handful of companies. You've got to have that 40 or 50 companies in an exhibit hall to make it fly.
I think the safest thing that a show producer can do is basically make sure that they pass U.S. standards and all of the other standards that any audio company has to abide by, any lighting company that has to abide by. So if they have to get Canadian approval to make that light function in the U.S., then or have that distributed in the U.S., then I think all companies that come to that show should go through that same process. And I think that's going to save their back in the long run as well, because again, as soon as you start getting big name companies who are spending $110,000, $150,000 on a booth, you're going to need them in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a very important thing. And I wonder if the trade shows are ever going to take that path. I don't know. And the reason I say it from that idea is that these same trade shows that I'm seeing an influx of international booths at are all shows that are bragging that, hey, we're bigger this year than we were last year. We've got more booths than we had last year. Yeah, you have more booths than you had last year because you lost. In the case of LDI, there was a company that didn't show this year that had a huge booth last year, but they weren't there this year. They might have been replaced by 2 or 3 smaller booths or weren't replaced at all, what have you. On the overall numbers, I don't know that. But those types of things, there, as Jeremy said, there's a U.S. company that had this huge presence this year, not even there. And many of the lights that they produce or they sell were in some of those little 8x8 cubicles that were represented by Chinese companies.
For those that were there, what was attendance like this year? More or less just general from a crowd perspective?
I would say I felt personally it was less. That was just my gut feeling on it. And that's only exhibit hall. I was not at any of the seminars. I thought the numbers were down. Now, pre-registration numbers were higher from what I had been told. It just didn't have the feel like it did last year. And it wasn't because we were in a bigger space. We were in a North Hall, which is actually smaller than Central Hall in some aspects and such. So I don't know. I would say I don't think there was a time where there were over 2,000 people in that room.
Yeah, speaking with Bernice Chauvet, one of the things that she said was it just seemed more consistent. In the past, it's always been, here comes the rush, and then it dies down, just like we see at every single bridal show. There's that rush at the beginning, and then it dies down after a while. She said that it seemed very consistent, that people were always kind of coming through. The booth is always kind of, people were having conversations, and she felt good with it. So yeah. It is hard to judge because that's the first time I'd been there, so I couldn't tell you how it was compared to last year. But, as long as they're keeping the vendors happy, then they're doing their job.
And I think that's a great point, Jeremy, because I heard that from a few vendors who made some nice sales. This is one of the guys from ADJ a couple of years ago, and I first talked about LDI, and it's like, I expected it to be, like NAMM, where it's wall to wall. People are there negotiating contracts and and they're going crazy. He goes, no, that's not what it is. It's a little bit different crowd. But he said one person walking up can make the whole show with one sale. Mm-hmm. And you don't have that at NAMM as much because you've got the small little mom and pop dealers in most cases that are coming up there and, okay, I'll take 5 of those lights and 4 of those and 2. No, 1 of those. I don't think I can sell it. That kind of a thing. So it's a different world. But I think that the people who were there did pretty well.
So briefly, what is NAMM all about? I don't know anything about that one.
National Association of Musical Merchants is what it's called. It's in January. It is the biggest show in our industry. It features anything musical. And it's down in Anaheim. It's about in the 20s, I think January 21st, something in that ballpark.
End of January.
And it's it's an experience. It's the whole Anaheim Convention Center, so it takes the long time. I mean, if you just walked up and down every aisle of NAMM, I think that takes you 2 days.
It's not really very consumer. I got a chance to go last year, fortunately, and it was kind of neat, but I saw a lot of things. I was able to get research on a lot of things, but it's not something where you're going with the intent of walking out with a product or anything like that. Unless you're a store that's selling, that's really what it's for. Everybody else is just kind of like drooling over everything that was there.
One of the little acronyms they like to use with NAMM is that it's not available, maybe March, and that becomes maybe May.
Yeah, like you said, the DJ Expo in Atlantic City was turning into a flea market. Are you seeing the other ones becoming that, or is that just
not so much? Expo is unique because it's such a drive-in location that people can drive in. Anything in Vegas you have to fly, so that just counts that out automatically. NAMM is, as Dan said, it's a for dealers only, and you go in there and you cut your deal. You might get a little swag here and there. Get a T-shirt or something like that, but that's really about the extent of what NAMM is. So really, Expo is this unusual show that nothing really can compare to, because it is that cash and carry type show for the DJ industry.
Yeah, I was at both the Vegas show and the DJ Expo, and I saw a lot more gear walking out the door at the Expo show than I did in Vegas.
Which Vegas show?
Mobile Beat.
Okay.
Yeah, because Drax does his show there too.
Who?
Right. I wanted to see which Vegas show he was talking about.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who have any of you been going to? Let's as long as we were talking about cash and carry. Any of you 10+ years of going to the Mobile Beat show?
Mobile Beat.
Yeah.
10 plus.
10 plus.
Yeah. Okay.
Eight.
So I'm gonna age
me.
myself. So some of the very early Mobile Beat shows. Now this is back when there was internet almost didn't exist. Al Gore hadn't invented it yet. But back then, when all we had was ICQ, it went.
MJ hadn't crashed it yet.
Yeah, exactly. But that Mobile Beat was actually a cash and carry show. I remember when I would take my staff down there in the late 90s and early 2000s. We would go down there planning to buy, and it was like, okay, who's got extra space in their luggage? Because we're going to buy some da-da-da. Generally it was microphones. I don't know why we bought so many microphones back then. But there was a level of cash and carry, and they would have booths with stacks of gear, and it was very reminiscent to what you saw at DJ Expo. Those days are long gone. You don't see that little maybe nickel and dime things that they can carry, but you just don't see that anymore. So
I kind of think that's actually smart on the vendor's point. If you go to those shows and you say, hey, I want 32 of these uplights. Well, for you to take it back, for me to put it on a plane or ship it back is going to cost me an arm and a leg. So what the vendors are doing, instead of them paying drayage costs to get that stuff into the booth, they're just saying, you know what, I'll ship it to you for free. That's so smart on their end.
I agree. I think that's a wonderful idea that they came up with.
Yeah, and I mean, they won't even sell demo stuff anymore, just because it's like, well, no, because we'll use this demo for the next trade show, and we're all set. So I mean, I think the way it's going now, it's actually convenient for the vendor, and it's also convenient for the consumer.
I would agree.
It's convenient for the vendors if the consumers are buying.
Well, yeah, you got to bring that up. I mean, goodness gracious.
This is about the future of the shows, right?
Yeah, that is true, and that is a big thing, and I know that's been a discussion amongst a lot of the vendors who are at the shows, is that they'll get window shopped. They'll have their things there, and people will come in and look at it, and then they'll go and try to buy it off Amazon somewhere. Or the one that happened with at Atlantic City, people would go and look at and we'll drop a name. They went and looked at some of the Chauvet lights, and they had, as Shani was mentioning, somebody from China that was saying, we make same light they do. And they bought the light.
You did it again?
No, because our viewership's going to... I'm going to offend most...
You'll be here. I got no shame in my game.
You'll be here 4 hours. You go home.
Oh, we make same like you do. We make good.
Oh my goodness.
We make good, Chauvet.
So if you guys want, if you're offended by this time in the show,
we know DJ Jer. He came by us.
We know chop time.
He came by us.
They're chop time. Chop be here 4 hours.
Jose, if you're watching this and you're offended by this, I'm sorry.
He know MSG. DJ Jer know MSG.
money's rolling in now.
That is my new DJ name right there.
No, it's no
No
MSRP.
MSG.
My YouTube channel is going to get hacked now. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. We're all of a sudden.
What do you mean going to?
Yeah.
All of our
MSG.
websites are going to be shut down by tomorrow morning.
I apologize.
Sorry.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
look. I teach Taekwondo. I'm around. I teach Taekwondo. So I'm not around Chinese people, but I'm around the Koreans, and that's all I hear anyway. So it's okay.
Shop time?
No.
That too.
Yeah.
John, we need a scroll along the bottom.
Yeah.
No MSG.
We need a disclaimer of some sort.
Yeah, disclaimer, right? Exactly right. You know, a little
started it,
crawler
John.
along the bottom. You know.
God.
You started it.
Sorry.
For as much money I
I
spend
told you it was a long weekend for me. It was a long day at the office. Sorry, everybody.
Oh no,
Drinking this.
it was funny.
MJ, what did you have?
I was going to say, for as much money as I spend on non-American products, there's nobody that needs to be arguing with me from another country. Sorry. Car, phone, TVs, motorcycle. Sorry. You all get my money.
Yeah, and I'll leave. We got to wrap this up and jump into our last topic. But one of the booths there was a company that's fairly new, a U.S. company, and I was looking at their product, and it was a unique, and I thought this was pretty cool. And I'm thinking, hey, they were talking, a U.S.-based company, wonderful. And it's like, well, so, where are you guys making this? Figuring I was going to get, like a Cincinnati, Ohio, or something like that. Well, no, it's Chinese, all Chinese stuff that's brought across, and we just put our it's like, well, then how can you be a U.S. Yes, your address is U.S.-based, and you're importing similar lights to the other companies, and what? It irks me. I'm sorry. It's just
not made in the USA just because your office is in the USA.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you very much for that.
But what if you quality control in the USA?
It's not made there though. It's quality controlled in the USA.
Well, doesn't Chauvet do the same thing? Don't they get it from a China manufacturer and then quality control it?
Yes.
There is no company in the US that I'm aware of that actually makes their equipment here in the USA.
So what we're really talking about then is UL approved. Are the Chinese lights UL approved?
Some are.
Some of them are.
Yep.
Some of them are.
All they have to do is paint it on there.
No.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm selling approval stickers. So if you guys want those for your lights,
Here's the thing. I don't know if you ever knew this or if you've ever talked to Glenn Mackay over in Australia, but they every year have to get every single power cord, every single light bulb, every single light, every single speaker cord, everything has to go and get inspected. And it costs them a bunch of money to do that. I can't remember exactly what his cost breakdowns were, but you can either go get the license or you can have an inspector come in, and it's like $6 to test a power cord. If you think about how many power cords I have, right, I would go broke in my business just to get cords inspected.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And I can't even find all my cords. There's a box over there. Okay, we need to switch topics, and through the magic of computer graphic animation, I can change to our second topic tonight. We got about 20 minutes left, gang. And the second topic we're going to be talking about is we started to talk a little bit about gear and legal gear, but the idea, is it important these days to have legal gear and legal music? And I wanted to just we'll end our night in that discussion. And a lot of us have been, talking about this and looking at this for quite a while. Who wants to go first?
The short version, yes.
Are you asking who's going to admit first of how much stuff? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
I'll go first because I have to carve pumpkins with my kids here. So
and that's important. Please.
I'll chime in quick, and then I'm going to make it brief, and then I'll take off. But I think legality of music, and I've kind of talked about it in our last conversation that we had with making sure that our lighting is legit and things like that. Music, I mean, it's what we do, and if you just read my last article that I did on in the Disc Jockey News, it's a 2-piece article that actually talks about Taylor Swift and what she did with making sure that they got paid for the work that they're doing in their music. And I think as DJs, we have to make sure that we're charging our client. And the person who makes that music, who gives us jobs, deserves to get paid as well. So to me, if you're not using legal music, you're in the wrong business, and I'm out after that. So have a great night, guys.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. I'm going to rip that apart for you if you don't mind. So you can watch it tomorrow on the video. But Jeremy makes a great point. The part about that has changed is, for the longest time, many of the music services did not need. They were not paying the music labels, and that money wasn't getting back to the artists, which is kind of a little bit of a thing that a lot of people didn't realize, is that the money that we were paying for these different music services was to support supporting the labels, but it really wasn't supporting the artists themselves. They weren't seeing money off that. Ooh, somebody must have clicked the screen.
You're back.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
You're talking. I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
I've got it set to the Brady Bunch thing, so it would stay that way for everybody. I suppose when one of the windows closed. But anyway, so that's something that's changing, and there's additional fees, and that's one of the reasons why in the music service or music industry, the music provider industry, they're predicting that there's going to be some changes in the next couple of years, because now that the labels and a few other people are charging them more, that the ones who are legit are now going to be financing the enforcement arm that wasn't there as active and aggressively the last few years. But will that matter to DJs? There's the big question. Will having that legal music matter? Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to be like stupid about this. Do a lot of DJs have illegal music?
I'm sure.
I would
Apparently
say
so.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a fully legit legal library. I don't think there's many, if any. Maybe 1% of the U.S. DJs are fully. There's going to be a song or two. Now, the ones who mainly really are
I'm
using.
not talking about like a sound, like one or two. I'm talking about like, are there DJs out there that their library is not legit?
There are people who are selling complete hard drives.
Oh yeah, especially in the club industry, they have, like, you would do like the old days where you'd do picking through records. People just trade hard drives like it's nothing now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Trust me. Just here's a 5 terabyte. You give me your 5 terabyte, and next week we'll switch.
Yeah, there's a couple of the DJ classified groups, not necessarily by that name, but a couple that I've progressed in the past, and they actually have had to put up rules saying, hey, if this is on here, you're gone. We're not tolerating this. We're not dealing with this. And just because there's guys that were coming in going, hey, I've loaded 5 of these huge hard drives. Who wants them for $100 a piece? And they're 10,000 songs or whatever the absurd amount is. There's guys that are, why not? Sure.
So we're talking more of songs that people are trying to sell, not taking music off of YouTube and taking stuff off of that. You're talking more of like real music that I'm taking my music library and I'm trying to sell it to you. Or swap with you for your remixes and things like that.
Both. You're going to have people out there that their entire library is just downloaded from YouTube or stolen from some sort of torrent. I don't want to say stolen, but taken from some sort of torrent, and then they take that they got absolutely free and then sell it.
I think you can say stolen.
I'm oblivious to all this because I'm just in my own world, getting my own music, trying to make my own money, trying to do my thing and work on me. So I'm just clueless to anyone who's trying to like sell a hard drive or anything.
I would bet that if you look through your local Craigslist ad, probably more than 80% of them are using pirated music.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's probably legit. I was thinking somewhere in at 75 to 80% are getting music. And the part that's probably the most offensive to me is not so much that the guys who are buying and trading, because they are doing it illegally. They know they are, what have you. It's the guys who are thinking that they're doing it, buying from a legitimate music service, and the legitimate music service is the one that's stealing the content. And we hear this story numerous times. When one of the was talking to the guys at Promo Only, and they have the ability now with their pool that when you download it, that it is all tagged. And if a song from my hard drive, let's say somebody duplicates my hard drive without me knowing it, and they then take it and they try to go sell this, and it goes around, and all of a sudden there's a website that's selling promo only songs, which there was one not too long ago that was selling promo only discs. That wasn't a reseller, but they bought and were reselling. promo only can actually go and take that tag, and it will have the information and tell them what path,
What idea
it came from, that it's their song and it came from my account.
Or like most people, change the tag.
Well, they've got
Or
some
delete it completely.
You can change the tag to be whatever you want. I mean, anything. I mean, absolutely, to any level.
I'm sure
with the free program.
Yeah, I'm sure that if you were familiar with that, but if it would be easily impossible, of course, then again, crooks are usually one of the parts
I can show you a program, and I'm not condoning this whatsoever. You literally could grab your entire library and re-tag every song within a library that it is copyrighted to your name. You can put your website in there, so whoever gets it gets your website in it as one batch, straight through.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how they tag. That might be a discussion I need to have with the guys at Promo. Is at that level, because that's something that's a tool that they use an awful lot to track where their music is going.
Because that was like even with Apple with their DRM stuff, they were saying, "Oh, it can't be free program, and your DRM thing's gone."
John, what's the original question?
Does being legal matter?
Yeah, does being legal matter?
Here's a question that's come up from time to time, or a thought process that's come up from time to time, and you have the ASCAP, you have the BMIs, you have all these
entities,
fees that the vendors or the venues and stuff are paying, so that we can technically play that. And I had someone come up and say, well, then where does it matter where it's coming from? That's where the money's going to anyway. So whether they got, whether it was sent from the artist to the person, or whether they got it from a service, if the license is covering that, and I know that's a weird thing, and I remember reading, and we should get Ed Spencer in on this, and he would go like a whole hour, but not knocking him. I mean, the guy's
he knows his stuff when it comes to music and the things with that, and he can recite. He and I've talked about this on a couple of occasions, and it's kind of like getting Ben Stowe and talking about. So Ben, this chord that has 3 prongs. Tell me about it. An hour later.
We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, Dan, that's the reason why they've been going after the venue, is because they can't control what the DJs are doing?
Well, I don't want to say that they can't control, but I think when it comes down to the groups coming after the venue, it's because that's the only one who can carry the license. DJs aren't responsible for carrying. They don't sell a DJ level of a license. Maybe something that should be considered if they, and then we could avoid a lot of the ins and outs that we deal with. But yeah, I mean, as far as that's concerned, they have to go after them, because that's who is supposed to carry the license for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. In Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly, it's actually tied in with their liquor license. So it's kind of weird.
There's a separate license too, because I know places that don't have liquor licenses that still have to carry a.
Yeah, Pennsylvania liquor license is really strange. I mean, that used to be where you couldn't play music outside a venue that was selling alcohol, because it would entice people to come in. So our laws are kind of screwed up. I don't want to say screwed up; they're different.
Yeah. No, they're screwed up. It's all right.
You have a wonderful Commonwealth.
But yeah, the music side of it is an interesting study, and it's this time of the year I've been seeing pretty much every day on one of the chat boards someone, hey, what's a good music service, and they're going back and forth with that, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, because I just don't know if the recommendation I tell people is, hey, I get these music services, so should you. Really the biggest argument, because there's no enforcement that really affects DJs, because they only enforce on clubs, they really only slap the clubs down right now, is that you get clean edits, and clean edits will add your bottom line, because you're not playing a thrift shop with the F-bomb in front of grandma and grandpa.
All right, here's a question to look into. It's a thought. When it comes to legal music, the majority of the stuff we play in the clubs is a remix, a redrum of some sort. We rarely play a radio edit or an album or an LP cut. So 90% of all of the remixes are made by like me or some other DJ, and we trade it around. So where does that come into when it comes to the DJ making the remix and then someone else playing it? That's a whole different thing there, because that comes from a production point of view and is technically copyrighted illegally.
Yeah,
I've heard one time that as long as you, and again, I mean, we're speaking hypothetical at this point probably, but I could remember or swear I've heard that if you own the original, so like let's assume for a second we just use thrift shop. So let's say thrift shop, you own 80,000 remixes of that song. If that's okay, you've paid for the remix version of it, but it's the original that you have to own in order for you to own the others, because you haven't actually paid. You've paid the same, then you would probably know that more. So go for it.
Yeah, it's I don't know if anybody knows the group Girl Talk. It's Pittsburgh mixing, and they did an documentary a few years ago with him, and he sat down with a copyright person and said, I made this song, and listened to it, and the person's like, okay, that's pretty cool, it's original. And he goes, this is what it is. He took one note from one song and then changed that note to sound like a piano, and then the next section it sounded like a guitar, and then he changed that note, from a C to a D, and just moved it all over the place. And they go, well, I've changed it so much in all these different areas, it's not the original. And the lady's like, it's all copywritten, so you can't use any of it. So any usage, if you paid for the original, that is the one and only copy you can legally play.
Interesting.
That's my understanding.
Girl Talk is
Well,
amazing,
I don't
by the
mean.
way.
I guess I should clarify. When I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about I bought MJ's version of so and so song.
Unless I was licensed by the record label or who holds the rights to that song. It's not always the record label. Whoever holds the rights to that song, unless I've purchased the rights to remix it, and that normally from a couple friends of mine do that. They are commissioned by companies to do that, is between like $3,000 and $7,000 to do that. So unless I pay that right to do that remix, I'm doing it illegally, and I can get in trouble.
So really, MJ, you're
Wrist out, we're slapping it.
so most remixes then and remix services, there's probably very few of them that are 100% legit then.
I would say the big names, they are. Like if you get into some of the ones that are out there, the big names, I guarantee they pay for their songs.
Yeah, I'm sure Funky Mix, Ultimix.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about. You're talking more like Crooklyn Clan, MP3 Pool. Like he's talking about those type of remix.
Precisely. The ones that are you're getting the thing.
Remix producers that you have 18 versions of Thrift Shop, the Biltmore Club remix, the Twerk remix. That you're talking more of those, MJ, right?
Yeah,
those
are the ones that just somebody like me who just takes a song and go, I want to redrum. I don't like to redrum, which I have boatloads of them for myself. That I just didn't like the beat. Created my own beat, put it over there. But there are guys that are going onto sites like like the Crooklyn and all that stuff and selling them. And then it's even worse than that. We caught a DJ here in the city who was taking one of the DJs from this city's music and reselling it, saying he's remixing it, and he didn't change anything. So someone mixed it illegally, sold it illegally, stole it illegally, and resold it illegally.
Welcome to our industry.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dan.
Kind of this, and this is kind of a question that piggybacks off of these, sites and that. Let's assume for a second our average DJ doesn't know a site that they're being a part of and buying from is not doing things legit. Repercussions come against the company. I know I've got songs in my record pool that I've gotten from different places and whatnot. 5 years down the road, this pool suddenly find out that it's illegal. Where is my responsibility? Where am I, within that? Now, obviously, if I know it came from such and such service, I could say, okay.
You would be responsible for replacing the song at your cost. Are we hearing? Am I the only one hearing this?
Yeah.
Jeremy's
probably
sleeping.
Jeremy and his pumpkin.
Oh, sorry.
See,
that's what it sounds like to kill a pumpkin.
I think he was like, he was taking the knife, the Chinese knife.
No, we're going to get more offensive.
Oh gosh, they're never going to let us back on, are they?
No.
Cutco knives. Cutco knives are in the USA. I'm Cutco. Cutco knives are from the United States.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Where are we at?
So
basically, like I said, when it comes down to the law, it's legal is legal, non-legal is non-legal, and it is honestly a really straight defined line that is grayed out by people's opinions. So legally, if they wanted to come down at you and say you cannot play that song that you purchased from this company that you thought was legal, they could come down and say you cannot play it. But what company is going to put that much money in a legal service to tell you, or even nothing more than sending out cease and desist letters to everybody who was a paying member of that service to say, hey, anything you got from them, you can't play anymore. What company is going to put that much money into even that many letters going out? So it's the gray area is like nobody's probably going to say anything, but technically all of it is illegal.
So the good news is at least the intent from us.
Yeah, you good intentions. You know what that builds.
Yeah. Great. Go ahead and say it, Mike, and MJ, and everyone will be offending everyone.
I was going to sing the song, but that's copyright. I was going to go, wait. No.
Remix it. Oh, wait.
Has Mitch chimed in on this yet?
Mitch, hit us.
So I guess yes, we should be legal, if at all possible, with your music library, with everything. But the other funny thing is that technically DJing is illegal.
Very few of the songs that we have are legal for being played in a public performance.
Technically. If you want to get technical, what we do is illegal.
Even if you're paying the fees.
You have to be paying performance fees, I think, on top of just ownership performance fees.
So if you're paying the ASCAP, BMI, if you're paying those fees.
And then there's a performance fee.
There's an additional.
There's a thing for a live, and I don't know where it details into venues, bars, as opposed to wedding, banquet halls, etc. But it's ridiculous. I mean, to the level you have to cover stuff.
Mike, do you have?
Hang on, I can inject into this.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Jim Robinson and I, the guy who co-founded Promo Only, have had many conversations about this topic, and the answer to that question is Promo Only, which is where I subscribe, does cover performance rights. However, giving Mitch credit to what he said, if I go back and play Brick House, which I did not buy from Promo Only, I wasn't in business back then, now we're in a whole different world.
Yep.
But according to Promo Only, part of my subscription covers me for public performances for the biggest festival in the world as long as I bought it from them.
Also, is there public versus private?
There is according to the RIAA, there is a little bit of a difference in the gray area in that between the two. Yes. But then to define that, I'm in a bar and it's a public space, but you were playing for a private party over in the corner, and there's gray area.
There's a ton of gray area. That, I guess, is my point.
Yeah.
The point is, be legal as much as you possibly can. Keep your nose clean and do what you can.
Yeah. Where's the download button on YouTube, man?
Yeah.
I'll share it with you later, Mike.
It's a free program that Michael MJ has for you.
Well, that's different. Actually, that's a plug-in for Chrome browser that it's usually. I don't condone any of this, but literally, it is one button that you can rip a video down off of any YouTube, blocked or unblocked, commercial free.
Is I don't condone like the new I didn't inhale?
Pretty much. That's exactly it. And here's the 5 steps to not inhaling.
I don't know how to answer that.
This brings us back to Ian had posted a question on that about the are we seeing couples? I'm gonna change it a little bit, but are we seeing couples out there, people who are asking for songs that are only available on YouTube? Have you guys experienced that?
Oh, yeah. Especially those stupid hip hop artists that are new, that are YouTube artists. I get it all the time at my parties, and they hand me their phone. Look at this. I get it at the clubs. I get it at the bars.
Yeah.
All the time.
Do you play them?
Well,
I go like this. What? Sorry, huh? What?
Just a second. I got to get MJ's plug-in for my Chrome.
No speaking glossa.
Oh, no MSG.
I made it a point long time ago when I'm talking with my couples and it comes down to the music and stuff like that. And I say, as long as it's available for purchase anywhere, I'll pick it up. And and just kind of just to avoid any of that issue that comes into with the YouTube. And some of them are like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, listen, first off, the YouTube quality, when I start putting it through the speaker, it's not clear enough. It does not sound the same. And so, and I'll still have some that are just like, well, if we can get it, and I'm like,
it sounds great on my phone, man. You can play it from here.
And that's when you say the whole thing about I have professional DJ equipment. And you start talking that way. And that's exactly the way you said it, Dan. That's exactly the way DJs need to say it.
Yeah, I got to a point a while back that the next person that said, can't you YouTube it, is going to get punched. But I've held back.
You can't punch your clients and your guests.
You know what? My answer to that is I don't have a mobile hotspot. I'm sorry. I can't download it from YouTube for you.
Well, gang, we've got to wrap things up. We've hit our 1 hour time, and I wanted to try to keep tonight's to an hour so we wouldn't go too terribly long. But I want to thank you guys for being on tonight. This was a great discussion. Next week, what was next week's
Next
topic?
week we're in Japanese.
We are the vapors. We're turning Japanese.
We're taking on the electronic industry and going to offend another.
I'm sure many people did not get that joke.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
I got it.
I got it too.
Yeah, I DJ at a place where every week a girl asks me to play that song every week, and I'm like, do you know what that song means? I let it go at that. So.
Yeah, don't tell her.
All right, John, go ahead.
Yes, next week. Next week we're going to be talking. This one, our discussion is going to be around how to, in these slower months. Shani, I know you don't qualify, so but at this time of the year, the wedding season's over, and how to go and pick up some bar events here and there. And I know for a lot of us that's not our forte anymore, but we're gonna have a discussion about that. How to try to pick up a few events here over the wintertime at your local watering establishment. For a lot of folks, that's one way they keep the lights on in the wintertime. So we're going to talk about that a little bit next week. It's actually going to be what my Tuesday tip is tomorrow. That's going up on DJN or the Disc Jockey News, DJNTV, that area. So that's next Monday.
I'm going to chime in next week about being the bar and the club DJ, that you wedding DJ guys, when your season is over, trying to take my job.
See, there we go.
I was going to say, MJ's just going to say,
there's more than just one club. Just saying. There's more than just one club.
No, not in.
Depends what town you're in.
Yeah. Some towns there's not, for real. But anyways, that'll be a good discussion.
Yeah, not everybody lives in Chi-Town.
MJ, I don't travel that far.
Sorry. Oh, DJ Ja! Hi, DJ Ja! DJ Ja back. Hello, DJ Ja. Hello, DJ Ja.
Who let her on?
DJ Ja.
Who let her on?
It's a good thing that we don't.
I gave her that. Yeah.
We don't have our censor button.
Who keeps giving me the Zoom account when I come home from the office?
Yeah. Well, she asked nicely. She goes, "I'll be nice this time."
You have to find the censor button. You have to find that bleep somewhere, so that way every time her microphone comes live, just get ready.
Yeah,
Let's get ready for Halloween.
Oh, that is coming up quick. It's this weekend.
Watch me whip. No, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching tonight. I hope you guys picked up a couple of things from our discussion tonight. If nothing else, that we are very offensive to all the races out there. We can equally offend. It's great stuff. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back next Monday night, 7:30 Central. Good night.